Hello guys and welcome to Switch Replay, and today we have part 4 of our Barclays Premier League review, or no, not review, preview should I say. We're going to talk about Leicester and Liverpool, but before we do that I'm going to have to introduce to you two of my fellow colleagues, Tom
Hello.
and Michael Burrow. Lol. Anyway, let's get on to Leicester straight away, and they've made three signings: Shinji Kozaki from Mainz, Christian Fuchs from Schalke, and Robert Hoof from Stoke. And also, but the major factor is Nigel Pearson got sacked over the summer and has been replaced by Claudio Ranieri, former Monaco, Chelsea, Roma manager, and recently Greece.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's back in the Premier League after 11 years out of the Premier League, really.
Yeah, well, obviously last time he was at Chelsea, just before he was there before they got all the money. And then he was there in the first season where he got to spend quite a lot of money and I think he made some good signings, but I think he got known as the Tinker Man, because pretty much every single game he'd change like his tactics, the players that were playing in the first 11. Obviously he's changed his kind of style over the years, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to be the right appointment for Leicester, because I think losing Pearson, I think they're probably going to end up back in that relegation battle again. So I'm not sure if he's the right manager to do it, because he's never been involved in that he's never really involved in a team in that end of the table, so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it.
Certainly, and I think Leicester, with their great run last season to stay up, which was remarkable, really, they with staying up in the Premier League, and this season I think they attacked the Premier League, especially in the last 2 or 3 months when they needed some wins. Pearson changed his tactics, played for 3-4-3, just to put three of the strikers on there: Vardy, Kramaric, and Nugent really starting, and Mahrez too on the wings. So they were having a lot of attacks, and it worked for them at the end of the season. They attacked teams, and they got their just rewards with winning a lot of games, particularly at the end of the season. I think they had one of the best records in Europe in the last 5 games or 8 games or something like that on Match of the Day.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how Ranieri tinkers with the tactics, because I don't think he'll be going he might go through the back, but I think it'll be a real struggle for Leicester this season.
Yeah, what do you think about the players that they've brought in this season? I think
Okazaki, yeah, he's got a great record in Germany, and for his country, Japan. So, and he looks like a good player. I was a fan of him whenever I watched Mainz play. He's very good, and he's consistent. Getting 10 plus goals for Mainz, and that's kind of Leicester, that kind of team in England if you compare them. So I think he'll have to hit the ground running, and if he has a good season, then that might just be able to keep them up. But like I said before, it's going to be a big challenge for Ranieri to keep them up.
Yeah, I think the signs of Hoof as well. I think that's a good appointment, a good acquisition, because I think he'll be good for the defence. Kind of organising, and I think obviously he knows the Prem, he knows what they need to do to kind of stop conceding as many goals, and while he's not one of the best, I think he could be one of those players that organises them really well, and I think he could be actually quite an important player for them next season.
Yeah, he was a major factor for their big run, their good run at the end of the season. I know they were scoring lots of goals, but he was solid at the back, and he brought experience that they really did need, because Morgan and
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna have to predict, or go put them in prediction, our little league table. Tom, we'll start off with you.
I reckon Leicester 16th. I can't see him getting relegated. I think the attack is too good for that. And I think the team will know that they can do well in the Premier League, and after the end of the season that they had, so 16th seems a decent position.
Michael,
I've
what do
got
you have?
them 16th as well because of like the pace they have on the counter attack, and I think it's hard for teams to combat that, especially when you've got that front three and then you've got Mahrez and Schlupp running at you as well. I don't know. I think they've got too much, like what Tom said. They've got too much attacking force to not go to stay up.
And Josh, what about you?
Um, well, I've got them down as 19th.
Oh, you think relegation?
Yeah, I really do think they'll get relegated. Ranieri's not a good man. Always was a good manager, but in his recent appointments, especially with his Greece job, he was absolutely diabolical. I just really can't see him motivating the troops, and they'll be. I think they'll be a similar position they were in last season, about February time, March time, and this season they won't be able to go on a brilliant run and save them this time.
I don't know. I think if Ranieri does do absolutely terribly, and they have the worst half of the season, the worse than anyone else in the league, I genuinely still think they'd be able to get out of it in the second half of the season. Like,
I think it was I wouldn't say a fluke, but I think it was quite lucky what they did. And I'm not saying like they did amazing to stay up, but I think it was a bit lucky.
Yeah.
And I don't if they're in the same position this season, I would put a lot of money on them getting relegated because they wouldn't be able to do it twice in a row. It would be just the mental pressure and the stress the players would be under is just too much.
All right. Well, we'll put where should we put Leicester in our final table?
What did Colm go for?
Can't put Leicester in 15th place.
So I think we should go for 16th.
Yeah, I think 16th seems fair.
Fair enough.
So we'll put Leicester in 16th place in our Premier League prediction table.
Jazz. And now we move on to Liverpool, Tom's club, should I add. They've been very busy in the summer transfer window.
Extremely.
Tom, I think you should go first. Go on. Talk about Liverpool. Just talk about Liverpool as a general.
Well, they've brought in a lot of players, haven't they? I mean, Rodgers is obviously, he's gone in and he's thought. Obviously, last season when we sold Suarez, I don't think he brought in the first team kind of players that we needed. And I think this season he's kind of thought, all right, we're going to go for players that are going to improve the first team, that are going to be, we're going to be able to have a bit more competition in each position. And I think Firmino was a bit of a surprise to the fans because at the time the main talk was that he was going to probably end up at United. So I think that's a good acquisition. Adds another player to the attacking side of things, which we weren't brilliant at last season. Weren't scoring too many goals.
Raheem Sterling was your top goal scorer, wasn't he?
Yeah. So and we obviously brought in Benteke and Ings as well in those striker roles because obviously I think we've kind of looked at it and thought, obviously Lambert has gone to West Brom now. He wasn't getting much game time anyway. Balotelli wasn't in great form, and I can't really see him having a comeback season here. Sturridge still injured for the start of the season, so I don't know. I think Ings and Benteke should get some decent game time at the start of the season, and I think Benteke, some are questioning, but I think he's actually going to be a really good player for us next season.
Yeah, I just want to touch on how good of a signing James Milner is. Obviously, he's a really consistent player, similar to Jordan Henderson, and he didn't really get his game at Man City, but I expect him to get a lot more game time at Liverpool this season. Last season he got 5 goals and 8 assists in 1,700 minutes. And when you compare that to some of the other midfielders in the league, he got significant slightly less games, but managed to get like a really good record. And I think if he gets regular game time at Liverpool, he could become one like the best midfielders in the league if he can stay fit and obviously work well with Henderson and the rest of their midfield. But I just think it's a really good signing for them.
Yeah, I mean, in the friendlies he's done. I mean, friendlies don't often mean a lot in terms of the normal season, but he seems to fit in well with the kind of system that Brendan Rodgers has had the players playing in. And one thing that I was kind of surprised about was when I've seen Liverpool play in some of the friendlies, seeing Milner get really involved in some of like, the attacking play. So I think, yeah, I agree in the fact that he's going to be a really good player, and I'm hoping he's going to get first team football, because if he's consistently played, yeah. But if he's consistently played, he could be absolutely fantastic.
And he's playing in his preferred position in the centre.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, when he was at Manchester City, he was mainly pushed out to the wide left or wide right.
Yeah.
He didn't really play in the centre of midfield, so he will relish as being Liverpool's one of the best Liverpool's midfielders. Really, I think him and Henderson could really make a partnership.
Yeah,
in the middle.
Another player I've been really impressed with in friendlies as well was Joe Gomez. He seems like really bright. I doubt he's going to be in the first team a lot this season.
But Brendan Rodgers has said he'll be staying around. He won't be going
definitely.
online, which does surprise me. I thought he would go back to Charlton or at least to another club to just get first team football, because he's only 18, so he needs to increase his development, and that's by playing first team football. So I'm a bit surprised Rodgers is thinking there. So I'm surprised with that.
I don't know. I think it could be a good decision because I think he's comfortable playing in the left back, and people saying that sometimes Moreno wasn't as consistent, and that could be a chance for him to get an odd few games. And I don't think that putting him in would be really weakening the team, because I think he looks good. And while I don't think he's ready for first team football yet, I think if he stays at Liverpool, trains with some of the players, learns a bit more about how we play, I think he'll become. He's still young, and he can kind of learn to play in our type of style and be a really good player for us.
Obviously, you know a lot more about Liverpool than me, and you watch them regularly, unlike me. But I think it kind of sums up Liverpool's defensive woes if you're saying about Joe Gomez stepping into the defence, really, because he's an 18-year-old lad. He's been in the Championship with Charlton, and I have to admit, I did like when the name came up. And Liverpool were signing him. I thought, I've never heard of this guy. I didn't really, if he played much for Charlton, I don't know anything about him. I watched him yesterday against Helsinki, and he showed good touches, but he's not ready at all, because he was just, I don't know, he was very he was quite fragile. He took chances and he lost quite a lot of the ball. But you'll get that as an 18-year-old. You won't, if not fully developed yet. But I think just defensive woes for Liverpool again. They need another left back. I think another centre half. Lovren's not good enough. Nat Klein's a great signing though.
I'm hoping.
I'm surprised Manquillo's gone back to Atleti, and he's probably signed for Monaco. I
generally thought, even if he didn't have a great season or two, that I generally thought he was young. We were going to give him the chance to come in for another season, and the future fee was, we could have got him pretty cheaply on a permanent deal, but obviously Dave didn't feel like he fit in with the club, and he wasn't. I think with the acquisition of Klein, it's going to be really improving that fullback, because obviously we're having to play players players that weren't natural. Didn't feel natural in that role. So, and we also signed Alan Rodriguez as well, another youngster.
Mm.
I mean, I've not seen much of him at all really, so I'm not going to go saying he's a brilliant signing or a poor one, but I think he's genuinely someone that could, obviously they've brought him in and thought he's good enough, and there are some fans that are raving about him. Probably some of them have never seen him play either, but that's how Twitter is. But yeah, I mean, if you're bringing an 18-year-old for a relatively cheap fee, they must be seeing something in him, and if it goes wrong, it's not much of a loss in terms of the club. So you never know.
Enough about Liverpool. I think we got to get to predictions now.
Yeah.
Spoken a lot about Liverpool and their defensive woes and as an overall. Michael, I'll go to you first. Where do you think Liverpool will finish in the next or in the upcoming Premier League season?
I've got Liverpool 6th for the next season
Mhm.
because I think they'll be fighting for that 4th place, but I think Man City just a lot better than them, and I'm also tipping Spurs to have quite a good season, and I'm tipping Spurs to finish 5th as well. So I
A bit of a sneak peek there.
I just don't think they're quite as good as them two teams, but they could easily finish 5th, like 5th, 6th, well there.
Mhm. Tom, please don't say 4th.
It's going to be one of these seasons where we either go into each game and we'll play really well with the signings, or it'll take us a while to settle in. And I think realistically, we'll probably... I think we'll get 5th this season. I think
Alright, thank God for that.
we'd finish definitely above Tottenham. I'm hoping anyway. And I think some of the games, we lost points on last season. I'm hoping that this season, there'll be improvements and we'll be surely getting 5th.
Mhm.
So Josh, what is your Premier League prediction for Liverpool?
I've gone for 50.
Alright.
I think, yeah. They're not going top 4, but they'll just, it'll be quite tight. But 5th, 6th, 7th, normal teams really. Just Leicester, not your Leicester's, your Liverpool's, Spurs, and yeah.
Alright. So shall we? We'll put Liverpool in 5th in the Premier League table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Liverpool go
Michael, it's
in there.
now your part of the show.
Yeah, so today on the Fantasy Football Tips, we think you should get Kasper Schmeichel in goal for Leicester. Obviously, towards the back end of last season, he kept a lot of clean sheets and was one of the reasons Leicester stayed up. And another reason Leicester stayed up was Jamie Vardy got 5 goals and 12 assists last season in the Premier League, finished really well, got a lot of pace up front, and Leicester fans will be hoping he can keep them up this season as well. And for Liverpool, we think you should get Jordan Henderson. He's really cheap, only 7 million. It's a lot cheaper than some of the other midfielders in the league. He got 6 goals and 10 assists last season, and he's also the captain now, and he's playing in a more advanced role this season as well, so he should be able to get some more goals. And we also think you should get Nathaniel Klein for 5.5 million. Obviously, last season he was at Southampton, kept a lot of clean sheets, and he is improving at Liverpool's defence this season.
And that concludes part 4 of our Barclays Premier League preview. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we certainly did. Tom, especially because we talked about Liverpool for about 10 minutes. But we'll be uploading daily, hopefully, if Tom gets his stuff right. And we will be previewing every team in the Barclays Premier League. So it's a bye from me. It's a bye from Tom.
Goodbye.
It's a bye from Michael.
Bye.
Goodbye.